So when will rates get moving again? Let's ask a man with more than 20 years experience in Australia's financial sector and Treasury. National Australia Bank senior economist David Garis joins me now live from Sydney. A very good morning to you, sir. Good to have you on the show. First of all, give us a feeling what's going on in Sydney. What happens when one central banker in Europe, Jean-Claude Trichet, suddenly heads to the back door and leaves the building for some apparently important gathering with EU leaders? What do you think is that about?
Well, we can only speculate about that, but with the EU Leaders Summit coming up a little bit later this week and the finance ministers coming up next week and Greek very much to the forefront, I don't think you need a lot of imagination to think that the ECB president is going to play some central role in that. So I think that's the way the market would be thinking at the present time, to see a little bit of clarity about what sort of support package might evolve over the next week or so for Greece, indeed if it does need support to get through the current difficulties that it is in.
Now, as I just said, the central bank in Australia surprised everybody last week by not increasing rates. You're seeing interest rates by the end of the year by around about 4.75%. That would be pretty high compared to everywhere else in the world, where we expect interest rates more or less not to move at all, or maybe towards the end of the year. What would that mean, for example, for the Australian dollar? The central bank must be worried about that.
Well, I think, if you saw where Australian interest rates are now and our expectations for the end of the year, you're absolutely right that more often than not we expect that to put upward pressure on the Australian dollar. Indeed, that's our forecast, but it's coming, the Australian dollar pressure, not just because of interest rates. Indeed, rates are going up because Australia is highly leveraged to what's going on in China, and you look at what's been happening particularly to important commodity prices such as iron ore and coal, which are tipped to rise by double-digit amounts in the new Japanese fiscal year. That's providing strong support to Australia's terms of trade. So we think by the end of this year it's a good bet that the currency will be at parity versus the US dollar.
So why did they really hold off this increase, which was expected?
I think, the fact that they've done 75 points when the rest of the world has virtually, with one or two exceptions, has done nothing. There is still a degree of caution about the outlook there, but they certainly saw the need to remove the super emergency low rates. But now they're sitting pat to see, well, how will the economy perform post the fiscal stimulus, which is expected to recede in this current half? How will the global economy turn out over the next few months? Providing we get some clarity on that and the global economy does make further net steps forward, as the Reserve Bank expects, then we think they'll come back in about May with another hike.
All right, thank you so much, David, for joining us. David Garis there from the National Australia Bank.